I mixed a song with just the stock plugins inside of Studio One, and I was actually surprised at the result that I got. But I want you to tell me what you think about this mix. So make sure you stick around to hear it and let me know in the comments below. If this is your first time here, I'm Andrew Barr with Producing in the Box, where I teach you how to make incredible sounding music without analog gear, and I think you're better off without it. Today, I'm going to show you how to do it without even third-party plugins. So before I jump into the session, I gotta lay a few things out first. There are tools that you have to have in order to make music. The great thing is, most DAWs and most free DAWs have these features. Obviously, you gotta have a way to record it. You also have to have a way to turn up and down the volume. You also have to have features for panning to be able to put things in the left ear and the right ear. This is standard among all DAWs. Now, you do have to have some plugins. And the three plugins that I just can't live without is a compressor, an EQ, and some sort of saturator. If it's an overdrive, distortion, something that saturates the signal. The more analog vibey, the better, but it doesn't necessarily have to be all tube sounding stuff. Just something to saturate the signal. Now, those are the necessities that you need to mix a song, but the necessities to recording something, specifically vocals, takes a little bit more than what I just mentioned. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can just scroll down right now and click the top link in the description and download my ultimate guide to recording vocals at home for free. In that guide, I just kind of show you exactly what you need to record your vocals at home and to actually make them sound release ready, so that way people think that you actually recorded them in a professional recording studio. So if that's something that would help you out, scroll down and click the top link in the description and it'll be sent immediately to your inbox for free. So now let's jump on into the mix and you can take a listen for yourself and we'll break down the session. So here I have a song that I'm sure you guys have heard thousands of times on the channel so far. It's a song called Shameless by the band N2, and we have about 60-ish tracks here. It's kind of like a pop punk song and it's pretty straightforward, but it's a fantastic song. They did a fantastic job with it. And this is what that mix sounds like.
Never going back. I'm so guilty. You'd excuse me. I'd like to catch my breath. I know it's no excuse. I'm sick of me. I'm tired of you. And
now let me play it with all of the plugins off.
I'm so guilty. I'd like to catch my breath. I know it's no excuse. I'm sick of me. I'm tired of you. And
As you can see, it makes a massive, massive difference. I also did all of the mastering on the main bus here as well, and I will turn that on and off as well. The only third-party plugin I do have on this is called Restream. All it does is sends audio from my DAW, so that way you guys can hear it in my recording software. That is it. So I just put that at the end so that way you can hear it with everything on. So now I will turn these off and turn them back on so you can hear what I did in the mastering phase as well.
I'm so guilty. You'd excuse me. I'd like to catch my breath. I know it's no excuse. I'm sick of me. I'm tired of you. And I feel shameless.
It makes a massive, massive difference. Now, one thing I really want to point out are the drums here. I think that was one of the biggest differences, and then we'll go into the vocals after this. So if I turn all the plugins off on the drums, this is what it sounds like here. Now if I turn it back on, that is just with a compressor, the Pro EQ, and a limiter here on the snare sample. I like to use a limiter sometimes on snares to really kind of put them exactly where I want to in the mix. Just a little quick hack for you there. A limiter is essentially a compressor, just a really, really fast compressor. Some compressors actually have a limiter switch on them that basically turns them into a limiter. But a little bit of compression and EQ goes a long ways. Now I want to come down here to the vocals.
I know it's no excuse. I'm sick of me. I'm tired of you. And
I am also going to turn off the Vox effects. That way you don't hear any delay and reverb.
I'm so f***ing guilty.
Now I'm gonna turn the plugins off.
Excuse me. I'd like to catch my breath. I know it's no excuse.
Back on.
I'm sick of me. I'm tired of you. And I feel shameless.
Now I'm going to go over here to the verse.
My ways wasted on a stretch of highway. We spend all our nights in an empty parking lot.
Now I'll turn the plugins off.
Reminisce of a dying ghost. Breathe it in.
I'll turn it back on.
What hurts most? All these stories that we'll never tell.
It makes a massive difference. I really think these plugins are just fantastic, and these are the stock plugins inside of Studio One. Now, I also use the stock plugins to create the vocal effects. So I'm just going to loop this section here.
Animalistic in my ways.
And that's all right here through a bus that I called Vox Effects, which I have an analog delay on, which is another stock plugin. Everything on here is stock. I have the room reverb, so delay goes into the reverb to kind of give more tail to the delay. I really like doing that. And then I use a compressor to trigger the main signal of the vocals, so that way the reverbs and delays turn down as the main vocalist is singing, and then as there's a break, like right here, that'll turn back up and it will get louder.
Reminisce of a
As he's singing,
dying
it is
ghost,
turning
breathe
the entire volume of the vocal effects down, and then as there's a gap in his vocal arrangement there, it brings that up to kind of give a longer tail into that section.
empty parking lot.
Really handy trick. I like to do this a lot in vocals, especially. Oh, by the way, I'm even using stock plugins for this microphone right now that you are hearing. I just have a quick gate, so that way you don't hear anything when I quit talking. Then I have a compressor that's just basically bringing the volume up a whole bunch, so that way it's above the rest of the music. And then I have some EQ, which doesn't make my voice sound so muffled, kind of brings things out and makes it a little bit brighter and kind of takes out some of that honk. Let me know what you thought about the stock mix that I did inside of Studio One in the comments below. If you want to know the difference between a beginner noob producer and a professional one, click this video right here. In that video, I tell you what professional producers know that beginners don't. So click here and I'll see you over there. Now, as always, go create.